Alright, we're back. After turn 6, I think. Headed into turn 7, I think. So, Dad, thoughts, comments, concerns?
It's interesting. It's like...
It's completely historical, by the way. 100% historical.
We get the Ottawa invasion.
Yep. The entire West Coast and the...
Germans attacked D.C.
Yep.
Didn't
So,
do very well.
Germans attacked D.C., took Brazil on their turn, moved their navy down there, sunk the American subs, and that's about it for the Germans.
They managed to hold off the Russians so far.
They've just been building men and fixing damage on their factories, or on their factory. The Russians have been building a bunch of stuff, tooling up for war with Japan, got a bomber over here, moved their guys up, tried for Berlin again, failed miserably. Took the Balkans though, so that's good. And yeah, so they're gonna need. They built 4 fighters. They're gonna try and I don't know what they're trying to do, but they're gonna try and focus infantry and tanks. They got to take Berlin, get it done, quit building air force. I don't know what they're doing. But I really did think my attacks would be better than that, but they weren't.
The British are building up their navy.
Yep, the Japanese have been continuing our push there,
That's cruisers, right?
and yes, and pushed into Canada there and into Panama. Moved their navy down to protect the German transport. And that's about it for the Japanese. The Australians came up, took New Guinea. The Indians came over, took Borneo. So they're just kind of trying to island grab right now. The fighter moved over here to Burma. They built a... what did they build? Oh, they built just transports. They built a couple ships down there in Australia, transporting a couple men there. Built a fighter here. So they're trying to wipe up the navies. They got a navy there. They went down there, wiped out the Germanic Japanese fleet.
Yeah, there's a little fleet down there didn't roll.
And that's about it. The German,
Your subs did
they're
good in
doing
that
pretty
battle.
good. Oh yeah, the subs did get a surprise strike, so that was good. Nothing has happened down in North Africa.
Germans lost their bomber.
And that's about it.
I don't know if we mentioned that.
Oh yes, they did.
Against
I
the
don't-
British destroyer. That's
Yep, a British destroyer there, a British destroyer and a submarine, and the British destroyer won. That was the turn that Ottawa fell. The Italians, they just kind of reinforced a little bit in Germany, and reinforced their own guys. Which you need to fix that a little bit. Alright, sorry about that. And, did we want to try for another round and see what happens, or do we want to stop?
I don't know. What do you think?
I'm down for another round if you are.
We can maybe do one more, but then we probably have to stop. I gotta
Yeah.
go check on Eli though. See if he's
So
okay.
we're gonna try for one more round, and then after that we'll probably be done for tonight. But I think that's turn 7, and we will see you guys after that. No changes in victory cities. There's the new board. I'm not sure if it changed or not, but no change hands in victory cities. So see you after turn 7.
You're almost there.
All right, we're back after what? Something. I don't know.
Like 7 rounds.
7 rounds.
A lot today, I know.
The Allies are at 12 victory cities. The Axis are at 6. Here is the board. If you notice, Italy is not on it. America is, but it's at 5. So some big things to talk about this turn. We'll just go in order, I guess. And I think it is after 7 rounds. We played what? 4 today? 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7. We played 5 rounds today. That's more than double what we normally do. We normally are lucky to get 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but this the war goes on another week. So we'll give a recap of what happened. The Germans, what did the Germans do this term? The Germans attacked the French, or not the French, but the British fleet down there, lost. They lost everything.
They took out 2 of the subs.
Took out 2 of the subs. Did they do anything else?
The transport slipped away behind the Panama Canal.
Oh, that is correct. They slipped away through the Panama Canal from the Japanese.
They just held on.
And I think that's it. I think they built they built a fighter and a few men.
Yeah.
They also repaired some damage. Of course, we rebombed it, but
went over to
and then so the Russians moved their guys over here just to kind of defend the coastline a little bit. Bombed the factory in Japan. Built 6 guys, 3 tanks and an artillery there, 2 artilleries there, and 2 tanks there. Still control Finland. British still control Norway, of course. They bombed the German factory. They got some guys there. They reinforced Poland with a couple fighters. Got some guys moving up. Moved a couple guys here. Retook Czechoslovakia, Hungary, the Balkans. They actually took Rome. They had the guys coming from Balkans, the bomber from Ukraine, and the fighter from Caucasus. That's the fighter from Caucasus there in the Balkans. Lost a couple men, I think, or maybe just 1 man, but they retook it. But they took Italy, so Italy's out of the thing now, and they're also in a launching place to take both Berlin and France. So, the Allies are at 12 victory cities, people. So that's 2 more, and then all we need is to take 1 more. And look at that. There's 2 right there. There's 1 right there. There's 1 right there. And guess what? The Japanese control them all, and they got a ton of money. So this is not going to be an easy fight. I'm still expecting at least 3 more turns. I don't know about you, Dad, but yeah. Then the next big thing, the Washington fell to the Japanese. So now the Japanese control all of America. That's going to be huge money for them. They can fight the British in both the Pacific and the Atlantic now. They can reinforce Ottawa. And so that's not an easy take. Of course, Washington is not an easy take. We only got 1 transport there. The British did move the fleet back up. We may be able to take Brazil. We put our guys here, expecting a reverse Operation Torch. The Japanese coming from Washington to liberate the North Africa from the British. We're building units there, of course, to take Japanese islands and Japan itself. The British are moving their tanks up, because now that the Japanese got rid of the Americans, they're going to be focusing on Asia again. So we're expecting a large invasion. They're building their fleet up already, 2 battleships and a cruiser. Got 6 tanks there, though. A bunch of Chinese guys. I mean, we're at this point, we're placing Chinese guys here just to try and save chips. We got a British fighter there. The British built a factory in Borneo, which is going to help a lot because they can produce 4. I did double check the rules. I did not see anything about factories not being able to be placed on islands. I know in global you can't do that, but this is not global, so suck it. They took the British took Formosa. They took Okinawa. They were going to take Wake Island and Caroline Islands, but the only reason you would do that is maybe to get the that own a Japanese original controlled territory early for the Carolines, because there's no one there. But we have French Indochina, Thailand to take care of that, and these 2 actually produced money for Japan, and the others did not. We retook the Philippines. So Japan is not going to have an easy fight in the Pacific, because the UK is making a ton of money. They can build 3 units there, 4 units there, 2 units there. They're going to be pumping out ships, transports, men like crazy, because we got to chain this beast down. The Russians almost have Germany wiped out. They do have Italy wiped out. and they're claiming all the money from Europe. So they're going to be building bombers and fighters like crazy, sinking Japanese fleets and bombing the ever-living hell out of their factory. So it's going to be a problem for them. Of course, there's no resistance in America anymore, so that's good. They can build stuff there, maybe take Honolulu pretty easy. There's no one there. Maybe the British will have to reinforce it. Who knows? Let's see. After Japan, the Italians just moved from Berlin. They moved there to France to protect that Victory City a little bit from the Russians. And Germany does have 11 guys. That's 2 red chips, not 1. So they're still looking pretty strong there, but that's about it. Well, let's see. China, like I said, just built 4 guys there. They're just reinforcing, and at this point, they're building guys there just to not eat up chips, because they got 6 guys there, 4 there, 4 there, 6 there. Yeah. So, Dad, any thoughts to add to the game?
It's interesting. It's just...
I don't know. Here's the money chart. The Russians and the Japanese are tied, and the British are only 1 behind. So the question is, and the Germans, the Germans and the Americans are out of the game, pretty much. I mean, there's nothing they can do, really. The Americans are out. The only thing that they control is a couple territories here and there that the British are guarding. That's the only reason they're on the board. The Italians are gone, except for a few units. The Germans are not long for this world, so it's really the Japanese versus the British and the Russians. And the question is, can the Japanese, one nation, fight 2 nations that are making an equal amount of money? And that's the question. Even though they are maybe in a better strategic position. Maybe not, because maybe we can start seeing Russian transports come out of here and out of there once those fall. Or once they repair that one, and once that one falls. Then I mean, Russia liberating Washington, that's going to be interesting. Like I said, we only need 3 victory cities to claim victory. So that could be Tokyo, Berlin, and Paris. And then, yeah, North America fell, but we conquered the entire Axis powers. And poor America, well, luckily they have an armed populace, so they'll eventually reconquer themselves. So, at the beginning of our night, the Japanese had nothing on the coast, but they still controlled a lot of it. The Chinese were kind of beaten back. The British had a few tanks in India, and that was it. Now look at that. Now China's a superpower. There's 6 British tanks. They've conquered all of Asia. Russia is bombing Japan proper. Germany's on the brink of destruction. Italy fell. Rome's completely conquered by the Russians. They control all of Eastern Europe and the Balkans area. So they control all of that. The Germans are just taking damage on damage on damage. They have been all night. North Africa still in solidly British hands. America's fallen. They lost the battle. And that kind of sucked, but Ottawa fell. So we've done a lot tonight. Definitely way more than we usually do. So, anything to add about the night, Dad? Just as a whole?
I thought it's been interesting. I've never seen, like, United States fall and then Axis and ever. It's kind of weird.
We haven't played very many games, but this is definitely one of the most interesting ones.
Italy. This is the first time I've ever played with Italy in World War II, and they didn't do very well. Although they did have a couple good battles.
Obviously, we've both made some pretty obvious mistakes, and that, so we're very novice players. But
like
that should not be there.
The Germans kind of focus on the British, and it ended up we're not able to knock them out, and now they're like struggling against the Russians.
I'm just kind of zooming in for you so you get a close-up shot.
We need to actually
what's going on?
All this to figure out where we're gonna.
Yeah, I mean the British, they have what, 4 factories now?
Yeah.
The Russians have 5, including the Italian one. So they can respond pretty quickly, and they're both making 50 plus. So.
Japan's got only 3 factories, I guess.
Yep. But they're making a lot of money due to America, and they got
the money.
And next round they got the money America had.
They got set like
70. They're gonna have 70 this round or the next round, round 8, and after that, then they're going to have definitely a good amount. They're gonna have probably 60 plus every turn. Well, maybe not. Probably 50 plus because they're at 48 right now. I don't know if they have any national objectives. I don't think they do as of the moment. But unless the British can hold them off these islands, they will. And the Chinese and the British tanks can hold them off the coast. Which that's a little more feasible. At least for a couple rounds. So yeah. We are signing off for tonight. And we shall see you guys next Friday.
Been fun. Oh, the Reds beat the Cubs, yeah.
The Guardsmen, over and out. And we're back. What's up? It's been a week. For you guys, it's been an instant, but we're back after turn 7, I think. Turns are going a lot quicker because 2 nations are completely out, America and Italy, and Germany is about to be out. They do have a few units, so they do get a turn. But yeah. So what happened on the turn? Germany built a couple guys, and that was pretty much it. They sent a couple guys over there. Yeah. The Russians, they attacked France with a man and 2 artillery against 2 Italian men and an artillery. The Italians defended with 1 artillery left. They repaired the damage on the Italian factory and built 6 tanks. They took Berlin. So that's awesome. The Allies are up to 14 victory cities now. Only 1 more to go. But the problem is they're all here, there, and there. So these are going to be the hardest victory cities to take yet. They pushed a bunch of guys over here, flew their fighter over here, built a bunch of tanks everywhere else. They built what, like 11 tanks or something crazy. But pretty much everybody's just moving east to bolster up the defenses on the coast. And yeah, the Japanese sank the British fleet, or took the British battleship there. They sank the transport, built a couple battleships, a man and a tank, fixed the damage on the factory, and then bolstered their defenses on the east coast of North America. That's about it for them. The British took Paris from what the Russians did. Moved the artillery from Libya over to Morocco. Moved their 2 units over to Egypt from Libya. Built 2 men and a transport there. Borneo, they built 3 ships and a bomber. Kind of put their transports there, trying to protect them. Because the battleship, there was 2 battleships there that sank the British battleship. And then the British fleet that was here, 2 destroyers and 2 cruisers. Also a plane from Manchuria tried to sink them, and they only sunk 1. That was great. They did take the Carolina Islands, reinforced Hawaii, bombed San Francisco, and that's about it for them. As obviously there's no Italians left. Oh, the British also moved 6 tanks down there. Try and bolster the coast a little bit. The Japanese don't have any transports as of now, but they got a ton of money. So, yeah, and then the Chinese just moved some guys and built men. That's all they ever do. It's just make men. That's it. That happened. So we're going to turn 8, and we're hoping to finish the game tonight, right, Dad? And do you have any thoughts on the game? Not a sponsored video. It's definitely been interesting.
I think it's like the Japanese taking on the world now. So.
Yeah.
Well, they're taking it's the Japanese versus the British and Russians and Chinese. The China's going to be super strong after this. And so are the Russians. It's kind of like real life, except for Japan never took over America.
Yeah. And the Germans never took over Canada. And that'll be about it. So yeah, we'll see you guys after turn 8. Oh, here's the money board. No one's been buying into technology, and the remaining 2 powers are withering, and then these powers have just skyrocketed. So yeah, very interesting game over the course of what, 4 weeks or something, 4 weeks.
Playing this a while.
We pounded out what, like 6 turns last week.
Last week we played a lot.
Normally we only play 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah.
But since the rounds are going quicker, hopefully we can get, 3, 4 today, finish up the game, move on to something else. But definitely been an epic game, and we'll have a end of game recap as well. I'm looking forward to that. So see you guys after turn 8. Over and out. And we're back after turn 8. So Dad, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
And we started a new tradition. We're gonna read a fact about the from this book here, and so we're gonna read a fact about World War II from this book at the end of every round. And if we play a game about the Roman Empire, then we'll read a book about the Roman Empire, and we'll just give you a fact in between each turn, random facts, because to learn. All right, the hedgerow country before St. Lo was especially rugged for infantry. Hedgerows were dirt banks lining the roads of Normandy, approximately 5 to 8 feet high and 4 feet wide. As tanks moved up the roads between the hedgerows, they were sitting ducks for German 88 emplacements just around the curves. Machine guns and mortars were cleverly situated by the Germans to exploit the hedgerows as natural defenses. So that's kind of a interesting fact.
I remember hearing about
Dad.
stuff like that.
So learned something about the hedgerows today. And yeah, so now we get into the game. So the Germans had 2 guys there in northwestern Europe, attacked Berlin, and failed, of course. They did have a transport down here though. Came up, took the guy from Brazil, and invaded the Belgian Congo. So more historically accurate things happening. And yeah, that's about it for them. The Russians had a crap ton of money. Oh, did the Japanese get their money?
No.
They didn't?
Yeah.
They're at 47. They're at 48.
I have to get that back.
Oops. Sorry.
We didn't lose any money.
The British didn't get their money either. We're kind of like getting ahead of ourselves here. Alright, so here should be 45. Oh,
How much did they have?
48. There you go.
I think they're in the Philippines.
Yeah, they are. And then the British have 54. Sorry, people.
Yeah, we forgot.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's like 1 German
5.
unit left on the board. That's it.
54 plus 10 for the national objectives because they got 2 of them. But they don't have Canada, so they don't got that one. Did the Russians get their money? Yep, they did. Alright. So, there are now 3 nations completely out of the game. Well, not completely, but the US and Italy are completely out. And the Germans are down to that one. The Russians built 6 transports there in preparation for an invasion. They moved their fighter down, prepared their landing forces. Got all this up there. Kept moving, built 5 bombers. Moved the army into China. And they bomb in Japan. That's about it. The Japanese, with their battleships, they're building like 2 battleships a turn, so they're still making pretty good money. That's kind of sucky, but they sank some transports. A destroyer there sank that one, and this fleet sank that one. They built a tank there. There's their new 2 battleships. That's about it for them, I think. The Soviets have been bombing them, so they got a few little damage on that one. The British actually sent 2 bombers over from Hawaii and did a ton of damage there, dual 6s. So they're at 16 damage on that factory right now. And then they built another bomber there, which flew over here, destroyed the destroyer, and then but the destroyer did not hit, and so they landed in Midway. So they got 3 bombers there. Got men just scattered all over the place. Built a guy there. And built 3 battleships in Borneo. Took this transport here with a man and a tank and reinforced the Borneo factory. Moved the guy there. They took the fighter from London, attacked the transport, and remember they got long-range aircraft, so they can do that. Landed 2 there, so they're going to take out the German guy. Liberated Brazil, and that's about it. No Italy, no U.S., and then China just built a few guys as normal. They reinforced there, so they got 6 guys all along the coast where they can go, because they can't go there, obviously, and they can't go there. And then the other guys they just built there. And yeah, so any thoughts, Dad?
Not really, I guess.
The Allies are at 14 victory cities. The Axis are at what, 5, I think?
They got 4.
4. There's the board. And yeah, that's about it. And so we'll see you guys after round 9. What's up, everybody? We're back with the game after turn 8 or 9. I don't know. One of the 2. And then we're letting Dad pick the fact this time. So, if you're ready, yeah.
Okay. This is in May 1940. The German Panzer armored divisions plunged into France through the Ardennes forest, cutting through the weakest sector of the French front near Sedan, just north of the Maginot Line. Before the Allied armies could recover from the blow, the Germans gathered momentum and drove straight for the Channel coast. That's like the prelude to Dunkirk, I think.
And that's the same book that we read before.
Seems like a pretty cool book, actually.
That's probably
That was from Dad.
that's probably a little bit of like Rommel and his tank division, the Ghost Division. You ever heard of them?
Not really.
Maybe we'll do a fact on them next turn. Special Ghost Division fact. Oh well. Alright, so the Germans took Rhodesia.
Yep.
That was their turn.
We lost the German transport that we had left.
Let's see, the Russians. The Russians rolled for technology. They got a breakthrough. They had 2 researchers, one broke through. They got improved shipyards. Of all the powers left on the board, Japan, UK, and Russia, the only one that didn't need improved shipyards would be Russia. But they did. So they used all their money to build a huge fleet. Obviously, they're preparing an invasion force. They built an aircraft carrier with 2 fighters, a battleship, a destroyer, and a cruiser, which was 6. Maxed out the Italian factory. That's funny. The Russians take over the Italian factory, and they're maxing it out every time. The Italians never did that in their own factory. But you know, and then they just kind of moved everybody west or east. Sorry, west how I'm sitting, but I'm looking at it upside down. Obviously, they're moving a bunch of tanks and stuff through China to get to the coast. I don't think the Japanese are going to retake the coast. They'd have to have too many transports. I mean, obviously you got like a weak spot here. I mean, I guess that could be considered a weak spot because there's less troops there than ever. But they're tanks. So honestly, some of the ones with 6 troops are maybe a little weaker. I don't know. They're probably about balanced. 6 troops at 2 to 5 tanks at 3. But that's probably the weakest spot there. They could probably take that, but they get smashed. Look at that. They got tanks, fighters, a bunch of Chinese guys, more troops coming over from the west every day. And so, yeah, that's about it for... Oh, and the Russians did bomb Japan again. And that wasn't the Russians, though. They did, what, 5 damage? The Japanese fixed it.
And the British bombed it, too. Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not... I don't think there's too much left.
Alright. Let's see here. The Japanese turn. They built an aircraft carrier and 2 fighters. Fix the factory a little bit. And, built that transport. That's about it, I think. That was damaged for 16 last turn. No fixing on that. Then so the British turn, they built a battleship, 2 fighters and an aircraft carrier, and a man in a transport down there. That's about it for there. Didn't do anything here. Moved the guy from northwestern Europe down there. Took Belgian Congo back. Yeah, but they the big thing was they bombed Japan, and they bombed it for 12. So, yeah. And so yeah, we got a couple big fleets here. Boosh and boosh, waiting to smash into each other. Got a big Russian fleet here, waiting to smash the east coast of the United States, or Ottawa, to take back that last victory city. We got that Russian fighter there in the West Indies, and of course they're just moving along. Anything else you want to add, Dad?
I don't think so.
Alright, so I guess we shall see you at the end of turn 9 or 10, whichever one. I don't remember. And alright, guardsmen, over and out. What's up, Dad? We're back at the end of turn 10, and we got another fact from the great book, never before published, Combat the War with Germany, for 60 cents. Yeah, I wish books were that cheap again, but nope, they're not. Fact this time, the Battle of Britain. After Dunkirk, the British rushed defense preparations for the expected German invasion. Hitler, who was inclined to believe that the British would now surrender, had not reckoned with the new spirit exemplified by Winston Churchill, whose speeches to the British Parliament and to the public had infused everyone with new hope. When evidence of this change was brought to Hitler, he ordered the German Luftwaffe to bomb England to her knees and to destroy the Royal Air Force. Preparatory to launch the German armies across the Channel. Until now, the very threat of bombing from German air fleets had struck terror into the hearts of Europeans, but the British Fighter Command and its Spitfire and Hurricane pilots were ready for the onslaught.
We're talking about the Battle of Britain?
Yep. And that's actually kind of, you know, personally, I kind of tend to believe that even though the British were obviously scared, I don't think they were as scared as they could have been or as Hitler thought they would have been. Because this was not the first time that London was bombed. In the First World War, London was bombed and England was bombed many times by German airships. So it was definitely not the first time the British had their homeland bombed by the Germans. And we also want to show you this. Look at this. A Buffalo nickel. Minted in 1937. So this nickel lived through the real war. There's the back. No mint mark. My phone can't pick it up very well, but sort of a cool thing. Yeah, we'll get to the turn. So the Germans took the Union of South Africa, and they're kind of in their last little pickle there. The Japanese actually cannot build anything over in the Pacific, so that gave the Pacific Allies a break, but they built a fleet here for the Russians. Their Russians are preparing their invasion, and that's about it that happened over here. Russians still moving east. They had 6 bombers. The Japanese did shoot one down. The Japanese also invaded Midway with a couple guys, but the bombers defended. There was 3 bombers there, if you recall. Now there's only 1. The guys from Australia came up to defend Hawaii. I'm trying to defend these Pacific victory cities because I only need 1 more to win. And Honolulu is probably the most vulnerable right now. I'm not too worried about these because there's 6 infantry and 2 tanks in Hong Kong, 6 infantry, 6 tanks and a fighter in Shanghai, which the Japanese, I don't think the Japanese could beat those. And even if they did, look how many things could respond. I did move a couple guys over here to Calcutta because I don't want some surprise Japanese invading with 2 men and winning because there was only a man there. So built 3 more battleships in Borneo, trying to buff up Australia, but I mean they're trying to buff out Honolulu as well. So since there's no transports, I didn't think it was that big of a deal right now, but I am trying to buff it up. So I got an artillery there. This was a huge naval battle right there. There was a Japanese cruiser, 3 battleships, aircraft carrier, a fully loaded aircraft carrier nonetheless, versus what, like a destroyer, 2 cruisers, and 3 British battleships.
Yeah.
And that was very risky for Dad. I didn't see it till after the fact, but I had 3 transports there. Guess what? They're in striking range of Tokyo. Guess what's in Tokyo? Nothing. So, had I won that battle, the game would have been over. But his gamble paid off, and now I have no more transports in range of Japan. I mean, I guess I have that one there, but that's probably not long for this world. And unfortunately, I had to build a navy to try and stop the German, or the all those Japanese battleships. These are still damaged beyond having the ability to produce units. The Russians are still bombing the ever-living hell out of them and preparing for an invasion over here. The British are kind of cornering him, and at this point we're kind of hoping for a Russian invasion of Washington. Is kind of what we're hoping for to win the game. Oh, and the Russians did send 3 planes to sink those that battleship down there, which they did. They lost 2 fighters doing it, which sucked, but it's a lot easier for Russia to replace 1 fighter than it is for Japan to replace a battleship, even though they're doing it every turn anyway. And that's about it. Dad, you got any thoughts? Oh, and the Chinese built more men, as usual. Any thoughts, Dad?
Not really.
Um,
They're trying to hang in there.
So we're looking at like another couple rounds till the game's over.
Yeah.
But we're pounding them out quick, and hopefully we'll come back to you after turn 11. Here's the money board. Guardsmen, over and out. What's up, everybody? We're back. After, what is this, turn 10, I think? Right, Dad?
I know it's been a while.
10 or 11 or 9 or something, or 12. It's been a while. And yeah, there's a lot of pieces. A lot of pieces. So Dad, it's your turn for a fact. Tell me
something here.
Tell me when you're ready.
You ready?
Yep.
The siege of Tobruk was one of the longest in contemporary military history. The seaport's position between Alexandria and Sfax on the Mediterranean coast of North Africa, with its sizable harbor, made Tobruk immensely important in the strategy of the desert campaign. I guess that's it. You can read a little more?
If you want to. If not, it's good.
When the Axis front lines pushed close to the border of Egypt, the British were able to hold and maintain Tobruk as a dagger pointed in the left flank of the Axis troops. When the British pushed westward beyond Tobruk, the port served them as an advance base.
Wow. So that's kind of our little trademark there that we started tonight for the last few rounds. Every time there's a round ending or a video that's made, we will give you a little historical fact about anything related to whatever game we're playing. Unless we're playing like a Transformers game or something, and then maybe we'll do a Transformers fact, I don't know. But it's been an interesting turn, I guess. The Germans did nothing. The Russians moved their bomber there, took out the Japanese fleet with no losses. Finally, an Allied victory. A total victory over the Navy, because after the horrible display of the British Navy in the Pacific, these guys moved up, built the remaining forces there, and some more ships. Built a couple transports and some guys there. Moving everybody east still. As you see, Japan, they're taking a beating. That factory's been maxed out every single turn, and then Japan only heals it for a couple. Japan hasn't been doing much. They did take the transport from Hawaii, and They're building up for an invasion of Washington. Guy got down in Panama too, the tank battalion. That's about it. The British built some bombers. Gonna bomb the crap out of Washington. They took out the German man.
Yeah,
They did take a man with him, and so that kind of sucked. But
if he could have hit, he could have.
I don't know what that tank's doing there, but it's there. I don't remember that. Is that supposed to be there?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't think so. Let's get rid of that. No cheating here. Alright.
I can't remember. We can check the video next time or something.
He's probably one of like the build units or something that I replaced with a chip. Built a transport down there, a couple tanks down there. Not too much built in the Pacific. Moved up my mighty battleship fleet there. Still no transports in range of Japan. But we got one coming. We got one coming. And the Chinese, as of course, built more men. The Chinese are about maxed out because they got 3 units in every single territory. One guy, so maybe I'll move one guy just to get that last guy on the board and be done. And then I'll nix the Chinese out. But yeah, so the Germany, the US, and Italy are all completely out of the game. And so, any thoughts, Dad?
I think it's not going to be too much longer, but I can probably have to stop tonight.
You don't want to go one more round?
Maybe one more.
So we're gonna try one more round, but we'll call the next round the last one for tonight, and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, that's it. Here's the money board. The second Russian researcher has been dawdling. He hasn't done anything, and so, but at this point, who really cares? So we'll see you guys after turn 11 or 12 or whatever it is now. Guardsman, over and out.